Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, we are breaking down communication skills. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to scroll on down, hit that subscribe button along with that bell notification so you never miss another video again. This episode is going to talk about how to constructively criticize someone without making enemies. In the social skills world, at certain times, it feels as though that the world of constructive criticism and hating seem to be getting blurrier and blurrier and blurrier. But it doesn't need to, because in a nutshell, the differences are night and day. For constructive criticism, our predominant goal is to leave someone better off than we found them, while with hating, our goal is to make someone worse off than we found them. It's not similar at all. It's completely different. Yet, at certain times, one of the worst mistakes we can make is trying to constructively criticize while being perceived as a hater. This can happen due to poor delivery, due to our message being all out of whack, or due to flat out poor social skills. We don't want that happening, which is why in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the message content and how to deliver it so you are criticizing someone without making enemies. In the social skills world, karma is a real thing. And if you leave enough people worse off than you found them, eventually others are going to want to return the favor. Watch out. We don't want that. So let's fix that with a few understandings regarding basic social skills principles. If you're ready and excited for today's episode, be sure to drop that like for me right on below. Okay, the social skills formula for constructive criticism comes down to two elements. It comes down to the actual message and how we're going to deliver it to the other person. All too often, we're just focusing on the message and ignoring the delivery, and at times, we're not even focusing on the message. So let's break down each part and then combine them in a beautiful manner. The message. The message is the content of your criticism. The worst thing you can do is just flat out open with the criticism, because what happens is at this point, their ego, their identification with themselves is going to knock your message down. Certain people, they have tamed egos, so they'll listen to you if you open with a criticism. For the general public though, that's not the case. What we want to do is we want to sandwich in our criticism, which is the term, the hamburger method, otherwise known as the sandwich method. A hamburger, it's broken down into three basic elements, the most basic of basic hamburgers. Don't be picturing no Whopper or McDouble, just a basic hamburger. There's two buns and there's the meat right in the middle. The buns represent what this person did correct, and the meat represents the constructive criticism plus the feedback. So what we want to do is, rather than opening with the criticism, we want to sandwich it in so we disengage their ego and our message is much more likely to be heard. Just to give you an example, if one of your friends asked you to evaluate their speech, for example, rather than saying, well, I feel like you could have made it more personal and just leave it at that, what you could do is, hey bro, congratulations for getting your first speech set up, the bun. However, one thing that I feel like you could improve is making the message a little bit more personal. The beginning of the meet, and you can do that by adding a personal story from your childhood. The end of the meet. What you did was you gave a feedback rather than just the criticism. And finally, man, I just want to say congrats again for creating this first speech, the second bun. That's the message content. Obviously, what I just did was extremely simple, but you get the point. Anytime that you are doing the hamburger method, we want it to be seamless. We don't want it to feel as though we're creating it on top of our heads. And we could do this by just practicing. When we create certain work, try to constructively criticize your work with the hamburger method So when you are put in a position to constructively criticize someone else's work, it becomes second nature. That's the message part of it. All right, cool, Armani. Am I done? I could do the hamburger method in my sleep. No, you're not done. Because all this means nothing if your delivery is poor. We want to deliver our message in such a beautiful way where the other person is left better off. That shows social skills on your end. And how do I leave them better off, Armani? See, that's what I struggle with. My delivery is always a little too mean. It's mean because you assume that the general public, you assume that they're mentally tough, while in reality, that's not the case. Most people, you're much better off assuming that they're sensitive. Just assume that. And if they prove you wrong, then they proved you wrong and you don't have any bad losses. But if you assume someone is extremely mentally tough and you talk to them in a certain way that they're mentally tough and you just happen to be wrong, then you hurt your likability, you hurt your charisma, and your message plummets a lot in their ears. But when you assume that they're sensitive, just making this paradigm flip in terms of your delivery, you start to unlock different tonalities in your voice. Your face starts to become a little bit more gentle. As you are delivering your message, you're doing it with a little smirk. And the smirk starts to disengage their ego. They're thinking, yeah, I'm liking what this guy's saying. I like the tonality that he's delivering the message with. But you're technically critiquing them. You're delivering a harsh message, which you've polished up, and you're even polishing it up more when you assume the person is negative. So that's all you have to do. In terms of delivery, just assume the person that you're speaking to is extremely sensitive and they're always on the verge of crying. This sounds silly, but I'm telling you, you're going to unlock different tonalities. Your facial gestures are going to become much more smooth and warm. And your talking is going to be more ninja-like. You're going to be much more better with your words. Rather than forceful, you're going to be like water, like Bruce Lee used to say. So that's what constructive criticism comes down to without making an enemy, without being perceived as a hater. You sandwich in your criticism by following the hamburger method. What they did right, criticism plus feedback, and what they did right again. We're just reinforcing that. And as we're delivering it as if the person that we're talking to is extremely sensitive. This is going to improve our body language as a whole. Now that you understand how to constructively criticize without making an enemy, I just want to give you one final disclaimer. With this new formula, don't just be constructively criticizing people nonstop. This is where a little bit of social intelligence goes a long way. If certain people ask you, or you feel as though this is extremely important, that they need to hear this criticism because they're making a glaring mistake, then give it to them. But don't just be constructively criticizing people nonstop, especially people that aren't asking for your advice. This can be annoying. One of the smartest things you can do in the social skills world is allow someone else to make their own mistakes. Learn how not to have an opinion on something, and the more that you build your social judgment, you know the perfect time to drop a constructive criticism. You understand when someone asks you to deliver it, you no longer feel scared because you feel as though you're going to be too harsh. This all comes down to social judgment. Criticize without making enemies, because constructive criticism is a beautiful way to provide value. And if you haven't been doing that, see how you could leverage that into your social arsenal. If you want more tips like this into the world of charisma and social intelligence as a whole, you want to make sure you check out The Charisma King, an in-depth look into the world of social skills. You're going to learn more about social intelligence, how to manage social anxiety, how to build a social circle, and much, much more. To grab your copy today, check out the link in the description box right on below and seal your deal today. Thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.